We will talk about a lot of things in this video, including Bitcoin and its prospects. The next price range for Bitcoin is anticipated to be between $120,000 and $170,000 US. Brad Garlinghouse will be speaking to us. We'll look into BlackRock's most recent Bitcoin ETF investments. Have you noticed BlackRock's recent large investment in these markets? The institutions seem to be starting to pay attention. Without further ado, let's dive into Bitcoin 72,000 as you unwind. $257 has gained 5% in value during the past day. Although it is currently down 1.35%, theoretically I am coming at 2,636.31. At the moment, XRP is only trading at 51 cents, whereas USDT and USDC are both trading at 99 cents. I'm keeping a careful eye on the $183 slot since it should indicate a breakout up to the $200, or about $25, level. We may see a retracement back to 150 if we are unable to break out of that 183 mark. Solana, keep in mind that to me, $1,000 is coming in if it doesn't hold all the way back down to 130. About Solana, what did we recently discover? Where's the small tweet, then? In the Canary capital, I was pulled up. Yes, an XRP ETF was discovered in the same Canadian capital. They recently discovered a Solana ETF. I shared my 2025 forecasts with you. They're really easy. Ethereum will fall out of the top 5, while Bitcoin, Solana, and XRP will compete for 2 and 3. In 2025, an XRP and Solana ETF will be introduced. Those are the next 2 items on the bucket list to be completed, bringing the total number of ETFs available to 4. Bitcoin began to rise past the $71,000 mark for the first time. On the hourly chart of the BTC to USD pair taken from the Kraken's exchange, a key bullish trend line is forming with support at $69,500 on a 100-hour simple moving average. The price is currently trading above $71,500. The pair is consolidating its gains, and it may break through the barrier level of $73,500. Even when they're coming in at $73,500, I keep telling you $74K. Folks, this is the precise number you need to be watching. These are the signs that it's time to go, and Brad Garlinghouse also mentions a black swan occurrence right here. According to him, a black swan event might make the US the global hub for blockchain technology. We know exactly how this occurs, so it's quite easy. The United States will lead and dominate the cryptocurrency market if Trump wins the election in the next few days. Pay attention to Brad. We have an intriguing manifestation for the final slide that we will display. Well, if you look at the left side of this chart, you can see how many internet companies are based and valued in the United States. The right side, which is somewhat in the cryptocurrency field, is somewhat unsurprising. As you and I have discussed, the 1996 Telecommunications Act established regulatory clarity in the early days of the Internet, which has allowed investors and entrepreneurs to thrive in the cryptocurrency space. This hasn't happened in the US yet, but perhaps it will shortly. No matter who wins the election, it will change its appearance, so I'm optimistic and agree that it may. Because Brad favors one side and Chris supports the other, Ripple will win. At the end of the day, Ripple will appear to have won because they played a really smart game, and BlackRock alone has more than $875 million worth of Bitcoin in the last 24 hours. The MicroStrategy companies owned by Michael Stadler are getting ready to raise $42 billion to purchase additional Bitcoin soon. What signal is it? The answer is straightforward: the price of Bitcoin will skyrocket. As I mentioned in the first video today, until Bitcoin has its fun, we promised you that the season would not begin. Although it hasn't arrived at the party yet, Bitcoin is just getting warmed up and heading there. Simply pay. All you need to do is focus on Bitcoin. Ignore everything else. Pay attention to Bitcoin. Until Bitcoin does its thing, nothing else will move. It's that easy, people, and we understand the spot Bitcoin ETFs have seen massive inflows over the past 13 days, according to a Bloomberg analyst. Bitcoin is a store of wealth and digital gold. When you examine the inflows you have observed, do you notice any oddities in the way the prices have moved in tandem with these flows? Since they've begun, it's a rather substantial sum. Yes, these things have raised a lot of money. For example, they began in early January and raised a lot of money in March and April. They raised a lot of money around the time of their launch, but the previous 13 days have been really severe. We're at about $4.8 billion that have come in just over the last 13 trading days, so I think some of this is momentum chasing. Of course, as prices rise, some of this has to do with Trump's chances of winning. After all, inflows have been in for 12 of the last 13 days, and the total inflows are just under $5 billion. I believe that people believe that Bitcoin will benefit from a Trump victory. I'm not sure what's causing it, but there is definitely a lot of demand for these ETFs. How does this relate to other developments in the cryptocurrency space, since the difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin has been quite notable? Is it because the Trump trade includes Bitcoin alone? Although you have a valid point, interest in Ethereum ETFs as a whole is simply not as high. You mentioned around $23 billion since those items were introduced in January, after all. Since Ethereum ETFs were introduced in July, there hasn't been any demand for them, as seen by their $500 million net outflow. There are many I could spend an entire segment explaining why I believe that, but part of it simply has to do with the fact that the theorem is a little more complicated, making it much easier for people to understand Bitcoin. It's just digital gold, digital store value. It's a bet against currency debasement, all of these different things, and then you look at Ethereum and is it a tokenization platform, a digital app platform, who knows, there's a whole bunch of ways you could describe it. And it's just, I think investors just aren't ready and fully equipped to understand what's going on there, and Bitcoin is as one as far as most people are concerned. So James, are these flows sustainable? That's a good question. So what makes a good ETF category and show strong growth? We tend to see times like this, spikes of inflows over weeks, days, maybe even months, and then there are going to be periods of outflows, but over the long term, what you're looking for a successful ETF category is that trend line is going up and to the right, and there are going to be dips where things go down meaningfully, but if it's going up and to the right, that'll be successful. I think that is where Bitcoin ETFs are heading. I mean, if you look at gold ETFs, they've had a very successful year. Obviously, gold has done well. They have $130 billion in assets. These Bitcoin ETFs are already at $72 billion in assets, so there's definitely more room to run. I mean, when you talk to most people in our world, right, if you talk to most people in the TradFi world, Chanali, they're very skeptical of cryptocurrencies. A lot of people really still do not take Bitcoin seriously. I mean, heck, most of our colleagues and coworkers don't take this place seriously, so there's still plenty of space for this to run. If that many people just think still plenty of space for this to run, folks, that's right, there's a lot of room. There's a 3x waiting for Bitcoin, and then all that money, all that institutional money is going to rotate out and start to pump all points. It is going to be a thing of beauty. It's going to be something like you have never seen before. I'm about to enter my third bull cycle. I'm eager. I only hope. Keith reminded me of this last night when I was saying, I wish I could just close my eyes and wake up in 6 months and have freaking tons of money. The enjoyable part is this. We are on the brink of excitement, and this is where the fun starts. I'm eager. I am aware that you are also impatient. According to Andre Sal, there may be some initial interest in Ripple following the UX elections. Chris Bummer might take the place of Gary Gensler. Talk about Gensler's possible replacement has given rise to two intriguing options. Chris Brenner and Erisica Williams posed the question, who will take over now that Gensler is out? Chris Bummer recalls speaking about central bank digital currency and promoting digital adoption at Ripple Swells 2020. Watch your guru, people. Solana et al., we've already discussed it. The fifth wave of Bitcoin is already developing, and Crypto has seen price increases of between 120 and 170. My targets are known to you. My targets are essentially zeroed in and locked in. I'm prepared. My conservative estimate for Bitcoin this cycle is between 150 and 170. Most likely, those numbers will appear in 2025, possibly in Q1 or late Q1, just before tax season begins. If not, the parabolic light will appear at the top around summertime. Keep in mind that this year is only the beginning of the bull run. It does not end this year. This is going all the way into the present. The parabolic blow-off tops could be pushed out of the goals for Q2 and Q3 40. We may postpone that. We can reaccess, get you some actual numbers, and reanalyze all of the available data once Bitcoin starts to take off. The fun is just getting started. I'm hoping you're prepared.